almost 8 billion people living in the world. 113 million of those resides in the Philippines. The world will be amazing if we could instill all of our advocacies to all of these people and have a better place to live in. How do we accomplish that? It will all rely on how we carry out our communication programs in order to fully mobilize and capacitate ourselves and our stakeholders towards development. This will be reported to you by our group for the Module 2 entitled Models and Approaches in Communications for Development. I am your first reporter, Janice D. Belen. Thank you! My topic is about Module 2 entitled Models and Approaches in Communications for Development. But before anything else, I want you to look at the screen and imagine a world without communication. You will not speak, express feelings, and create waves of emotions through your actions. Imagine a world where we will not be able to understand each other. It is difficult to imagine because people cannot live without communication. Oh, why is my camera multiplied? Wait, I'm gonna fix this, but... Oh, wait, this is not a glitch. This is an example of something that takes a lot of forms, like communication. Verbal, non-verbal, written, listening, and visual. As Sidney J. Harris stated, information is giving out, communication is getting through. Without going technical, but by explaining it with the heart, communication helps us build relationships with ourselves and with other people by allowing us to share our perspectives, experiences, and needs, and helps us connect better and deeper to others. It is the essence of life and what makes our lives worth living. The three perspectives of communication are unilinear, transactional, and systems models. But first, let us talk about what is a communication model. First, it is a representation of reality. Second, it depicts how its author conceives or explains communication. In Ruben Brent's model of communication, he defined that the communication model is a systematic representation of the procedure that aids in understanding the human communication process by highlighting its most fundamental characteristics and components. The three essential features of communication models are: they assume that communication begins when someone initiates the process. Communication is seen as evolving conveyance, transfer or transmission of messages from a source or receiver. And communication is something that people do to other people. The first unilinear communication model view communication as a sequence of events with a beginning and an end. The unilinear communication model follows a certain sequence. It has a start and an ending. The Laswell communication model has four factors: the sender, the message, the receiver, and the effect of that message to the receiver. In this case, it is that person talking or communicating in any way is sending a message to another person called the receiver, which in turn develop an effect, such as in this case, he is being informed by the person talking. This model lacks feedback as it is only a linear transaction or a one-way communication model. One example is a news source from CNN. The sender is CNN. The message is a new discovery in ocean farming. The channel used is the internet. The receiver are the readers or online audience. The effect is it made the readers gain new information. In Aristotle's communication model, the speaker is placed in the central position and suggests that the speaker is the one who drives the entire communication. From the speaker, a speech or a message is delivered and received by the audience, which causes various effects or feedback for the receiver. This kind of a model is discovered by Aristotle for public speaking purposes, which dates back to 300 BC. The rhetorical triangle discovered by Aristotle revolves around these three factors: logos, which appeals to reason and can be treated as the text of the argument, as well as how well a writer has argued their point. The argument given by the speaker is logical and arranged in a well-reasoned order. Ethos refers to the character of the author and can be defined by the role of the writer in the argument and how credible their argument is. The speaker's qualifications are prestigious and make them sound reliable and credible. The speaker connected him or herself well to the topic being discussed and demonstrated respect for multiple viewpoints. Pathos are simply the emotions and the sympathetic imaginations, beliefs, and values conveyed by the speaker or sender of the message to the receiver. This can also be treated as the role of the audience in the argument. The sender or the speaker appealed to the values and beliefs of the audience by using examples that the audience can tend, relate, or care about. The second communication model that falls under the unilinear model is the Berle's communication model. He described four components to describe the communication process, which can easily be remembered with its acronym SMCR, which refers to source, message, channels, and receiver. The source or the sender originates or sends the message. The sender carefully put together their thoughts to come up with a good message. This can be done by having the following: communication skills, attitude, knowledge, and influence of social systems and culture. Communication skills affect the communication process based on the effectiveness of the sender's communication skills, such as presenting, reading, writing, listening, and others. Accent is also considered a factor when it comes to communication skills. The proper intonation, pauses, diction, and how the sender delivers their message must be carefully and thoughtfully prepared to avoid miscommunication. The sender's attitude towards him or herself, the receiver, and through their environment also affects the communication process. As Walter Scott says, to gain success, one must remember that attitude is equally as important as ability. Now, we should always keep in mind to always keep our feet in the ground, because to get wherever we want it to be, we should walk there as gradually as we can and with full effort, because humans don't fly, and if you try to fly way up there, no one will be able to understand you. The knowledge or familiarity of the sender with the subject matter makes the communication more effective. Some may be wondering, why should I always have in-depth knowledge of everything I am talking about? Why? Because you may never know when you will receive questions, inquiries, or clarifications about the subject matter in hand. That is why people read in their free time, in the mountains, in the train, or in the bus. People are always trying to learn a thing or two whenever possible, because you may never know when you will need this information. And being ready is better than just being smart. Social systems such as values, beliefs, religion, and other social factors creates a difference in sending or receiving the message. Conflict arising from differences in core beliefs among communicators can result to ineffective communication. Core beliefs are based on an individual's direct personal experience with reality. A lot of people have firm beliefs that are hard to change or be influenced by another. So in communicating with other people, we should always check and study their beliefs and social standing so that we may be able to produce or initiate communication with them in the most effective way. A cultural factor affects the delivery of the message, such as one behavior is not in the same acceptance level or treatment level to people based on their culture. It may affect communication styles in aspects such as phrases, words, gestures, and languages used. Culture affects communication in verbal and nonverbal ways. Culture can influence how we communicate verbally using the culturally appropriate sentences, metaphors, and culture-specific slang between two or more people. It also affects what topics are deemed appropriate for conversation based on cultural norms or values present within a culture's social environment. For example, if someone within the culture uses profanity, this would likely be an inappropriate topic of conversations among members of that culture. According to an article in Cultural Atlas, in Japanese culture, silence is often considered a more polite way to communicate than speaking one's mind verbally. They believe that interrupting someone when they are explaining, is treated as impolite or being rude. Not knowing about this factor may cause discomfort about the sender, who might think that the person he talks to is offended by what he said or what he did.